The checks on the check.
Oh, these two. Oh. Some of these, these are all signed.
Checks.
Yeah, these checks are signed. Yeah. What is Robert?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good to see you.
No.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Joseph, you tell Heather that we're Samantha, we're not going to look at this. Okay. Yeah. Everybody, if you wouldn't mind turning your phones down, the ring won't go off. Scheduling and I'll be so far. A lot of meetings, a lot of meetings.
Flip that script.
A lot of, just, that clock slow.
Back in the 2 weeks, there's a lot of games we were ahead and we lost by 1 or 2.
And you play with.
I know.
So ready? Do it. Notice. No problem. Notice is hereby given of a regular meeting of the Galveston County Consolidated Drainage District on May 14th, 2024 at 8 a.m. at the district's office located at 1608 Whitaker Drive, Friendswood, Texas. I'll call the meeting to order. We'll do an invocation, pledge of allegiance.
Local thank for the drainage district. Most people that have supported it, work with it, and are looking after us. We ask you to give us, the old and the new board, the knowledge and the strength to carry forward to make our district more resilient. We ask these things in thy name.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Honor the flag. I pledge allegiance to the United Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Make a motion to suspend the rules. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? We'll move on to item 5, discussion and action items. Approve or deny a variance request for SL1 baseball training facility, requesting a variance to the district rule that does not allow improvements within a detention facility or maintenance firm of a detention facility. Civil Systems Engineering, Inc. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Got a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Scott, you want to explain it?
Sure. So, this development is going to have an indoor facility, some cages, and probably some indoor field area to train, right? And they're going to have one field in the back. And as you know, with the detention rates, it's tough to make a lot of these sites work. So what they're proposing to do is, incorporate their baseball field within a detention pond. You can see they'll have a berm and kind of cut down here. So this will only be inundated during your 100-year events, 50-year events. So times they wouldn't be on the field anyhow.
It's important to recognize that they're going to take care of all maintenance,
Yes, sir. Yes,
because historically we don't have any improvements in our areas.
sir.
We're all good with that. The caveat on the next motion, make sure it's on there, right?
Yes, sir.
Is the applicant aware of that condition?
Yes, sir.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Item B, review and take action on SL1 baseball training facility, preliminary drainage plan. Civil Systems Engineering, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, so to be unanimous. C, review and take action on 4 Oak Tree Drive, final drainage plan, that cost architect. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second? Got a motion, a second. Any questions? We're just adding a few places, market places. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed. Skip down to F. Review and take action on Westland Ranch Section 10 preliminary plat, LJA Planning and Landscape Architect. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Any discussion? Scott, you got anything on this?
No, sir. It is
Yeah.
in compliance with their master plan. Just a continued expansion of that development.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that takes G. Approve or deny a variance request for Jeter Funeral Home Development, requesting to not be required to obtain a preliminary or final drainage plan for the district in order to remove and replace existing pervious coverage as long as there's no increase in impervious coverage. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Got a motion, a second, discussion. They're just taking out 900 feet and putting in 900 feet, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Item 6, consent agenda. Is there anything on the consent agenda that anybody would like to remove? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Need a motion.
Oh, do I hear a motion to
Motion to
approve?
approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All right, we're gonna go to H, comments from outgoing board members. Lonnie, you got anything?
I'd just like to offer my congratulations to the new incoming board. I want to say that this is the city that I love, always loved, since I've lived here for 44 years. And I know that this board will continue everything in Pine Tree. I want to express my greatest appreciation to Kathy, to Joseph, and Scott for the support that you've given us. Great. Let you know, guys, I'll miss you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lonnie. Oh, yes, Teresa's not here. Scott, always a pleasure. Joseph. Good times. Jim? Rusty? I know you'll do well. You got God on your side. David, Kim, and Jason, congratulations. To those who are given much, much is required. Good luck. Kathy, gonna miss you. Robert, Peggy, Heather, Bill. Keep up the good work, man. That's it. Let's do the certificate of election, and then we'll do a recess so people can sign plans.
Just a minute, I've got tears. A resolution canvassing the returns and declaring the results of the general election held May 4th, 2024, for the purpose of electing 3 board members to the Galveston County Consolidated Drainage District. Whereas a general election was held May 4th, 2024, for the purpose of electing 3 board members, and whereas the election was duly and legally in conformity with the election laws of the state of Texas, and the results that election have been verified and returned by the proper judges and clerks. Whereas it appears a total of 1,730 votes were cast in the election. Be it resolved by the Galveston County Consolidated Drainage District, Texas. The facts and matters forth and presumably resolution is hereby found to be true and current. The official canvass of the returns of the general election held May 4th, 2024 reflects the following names. Persons received the numbers of votes set opposite their names in the respective position. Board member, position 1. Candidates: Michael Ross, Kevin Holland, and David Johnson. Michael Ross received 46. Kevin Holland, 775. David Johnson, 909. Board member position 2, Teresa Gustafson, 831. Jason Jones, 895. Position 5, Lonnie Moffitt, 781. Kimberly Gerard, 948. The official canvass of the returns of the general election held May 4th, 2024 reflect the following persons were duly elected to the position shown. Board member, position 1, David Johnson. Board member, position 2, Jason Jones, and board member, position 5, Kimberly Gerard. Passed and approved on this resolution this 14th day of May 2024.
Kathy, can we recess to sign the plans and then you guys can take over the meeting? Thank y'all.
Have here now, some person. It was 12. But I know that's what.
We need to find that one.
Muscle over there. Run over there.
Right, it's like,
Right.
see it like everywhere now. Because it's not like when you like you never saw it. It's like you had it and now you're like, nobody has.
Yeah.
It's really bad, yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And Lonnie, thanks.
Ben, how are you?
He said, you get the school. I had that down there.
Lonnie, this judge was running your name.
I'll talk about.
This judge was running your name like for this guy. Okay.
Feels like, where do you go? It's not my real name. Curry's real name. Just. So. Yeah.
I'll make an announcement.
What's your first name? Don't be alarmed. Holy smoke. I'm glad I called you judge.
I was already saying that. It's a good thing we've had him.
Take your attention for a minute. We have one item before we recess, and that's the board needs to approve the canvas of the election. So here, motion.
I have a motion. I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now you can talk.
Sorry.
Good to meet you.
You take.
Yes.
Question.
Yes.
And, no, you're there.
Yeah.
Still doing court law?
I am, yeah.
That's what you're here,
I'm their attorney.
keeping it straight, and that's why we had to have a vote. Okay, you didn't have a vote? You good to see you.
Hey, nice to meet
Yeah.
I think I've got a few hands up in your leg because I don't have an
You know what, in this day and time, you can't take something for granted. If I had to put money on you, Lonnie, I put money on you.
I'll see you.
Well, I don't have a lot, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, he's talking to you.
You have to wear this shirt.
It's only in the cars.
Yeah. Yes.
We're ready to go. And if you're ready, not all.
Think about it.
We're going along with it. Plan.
Gonna do it.
You sound like you're taking the plea. Like this. Listen, I'm gonna go ahead and go along with the agreement you made with the state.
You're pleading guilty, but you are guilty. No information.
Judge, I wish I would have talked to you.
You was kind of like.
It's. That's what she told me the other day.
Well, I mean, that's. I have this. I've never heard this kind of switch. Well, I heard him.
But this, sorry.
Sure. It's information.
It's just the same.
Get people- So, sometimes it's got to be there's one of them.
You're doing a great job.
He's gonna do it.
See, I'm making.
I don't know how he's gonna do it. I was gonna do it. Yeah. I've seen some. Everybody just goes.
They had a Chris Johnson. It's kind of. Kids.
No contact person over here. It's not our first year.
And all friends and that's. They have, or they just posting this. Satisfied. So. I just. One chicken jump close.
I have.
That looked good.
You start.
They're having a special. My husband's growing girls. I know, right? Anyway.
It looks like the weather's going to. Oh, no.
Ready to go. Like to call it a large please. With the new board members, please take their seat. And congratulations. Kathy?
I think Lonnie is going to read the.
I'll swear them in. What do you say?
Go ahead, do it for me.
You guys ready to do that? You would stand up before you do, I think before you do that. Let me just say, public service is one of those really rare things that you get a chance to do. And, you know, I'm an attorney that works at the courthouse, but what goes on right here is where the rubber hits the road. What goes on right here is where people, these guys make decisions invest your money, study and make plans for the development and the safety of your community. And I mean, they're really carrying the heavy load. I just make legal decisions every once in a while. And I have a lot of people that want to give me advice on that. So what these guys here is really quite a service. It's a privilege for me to be here, and I want to thank all of you for letting me come. If you would stand up and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Jennifer Larson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the office of Director,
of the office of Director,
Galveston County Drainage District,
Galveston County Drainage District,
Galveston County, Texas,
Galveston County, Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States and this great state.
of the United States and this great state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Now I'm going to put people in prison. See y'all later.
Congratulations. Let's do it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Kathy.
Congratulations.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Jim.
Now call for the election of officers of the new board. I hear nomination.
I have a motion to elect the board members as follows. Rusty Burkett, President. David Johnson, Vice President. Kim Gerard, Treasurer. Jason Jones, Secretary, and Mr. Jim Gibson, Board Member at Large.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Rusty, your show.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all very much.
And not on your way.
You never know. So thank y'all very much. This is an historic occasion. It's the first majority elected board in the history of the Galveston County Consolidated Drainage District. And I think that I'll save my general comments to the end at the board of directors report. So we can get right to business, and then we can have our outgoing comments for everybody. So we need to reconvene on item D. Item D is review and take action on the unnamed road FM 528, 23 acre development preliminary drainage plan, Odyssey Engineering Group. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second, Jim? Any discussion? Scott, you want to let us know what's going on right there? That's at the corner right there of
Sure.
528 and
Here's Friendswood Parkway here. So they're doing a commercial subdivision, right? They're gonna have some tracks here. You're gonna see that on the plat, preliminary plat that you're gonna consider here at the next agenda item. As part of that, they're providing a local detention pond for all the development, and then also for part of their half of the Friendswood Parkway expansion. So they're not physically doing any of the construction for the parkway, just providing drainage for it. Have any questions?
Scott explained to them. So we have the pond going to be in the back left-hand corner there,
Yes, sir.
the west side. Explain, we're going to do the plat here, but explain to them what's going on up front.
Okay, well, let me pull a plat up real quick so you can kind of see the layout of their reserves. So you'll see, here's the detention pond reserve where that detention pond's going. If this go down, I could split it, but that won't work. You'll see there's a commercial reserve here. Right along Friendswood Parkway, there's another commercial reserve here. It has frontage along 528. And got one more or two more reserves here, E and D. Those are all big commercial developments. Right now, I haven't seen anything come through as far as what specifically it's going to be, but they're just laying the, no different than a residential subdivision, providing the infrastructure for development of the lots. That's where we're at. This pond will drain to Chigger Creek via the right of way for Friendswood Parkway tie-in right here. This is the city-owned tract on this side.
So I guess the basic question would be, right, that as far as setbacks
Yes.
and the easements, everything's normal and standard and all
Yes, sir.
sides.
That meets the district criteria. Yes, sir.
So is there anything that doesn't meet the criteria on this?
No, sir.
Any questions? David?
No.
No. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Show to pass unanimously, 0. Item E, review and take action on unnamed road FM 528, 23-acre development. Assel Narnia Way, preliminary plat, Beacon Land. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Discussion? Scott, again, you just kind of went over it.
Kind of went over it again.
Yep.
But do you all have any more questions about the plat specifically?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Votes passed unanimously. I am going to bring back up item A and recall that item for the new board, and that is approve or deny the variance request for SLI baseball training facility, requesting a variance due to the district's rule that does not allow improvements within a detention facility or maintenance berm of a detention facility. Civil Systems Engineering Incorporated. One thing that Scott talked about, well, I'd like to have a motion to recall that item. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, one thing I'd like to talk about on that, Scott, is what you said about we do not allow improvements in our areas. And I think it's important for the new board to go out and see this site this week. If they can do that, majority with you, understand the variance request, understand what's being asked of the board, and we can put this back on the regular agenda meeting next month. So that's my recommendation. So I have a motion to table this, to recall this item, and to table the vote to approve this variance for the new board to be able to go out as a learning experience, to talk to Scott, to understand what they're asking, understand going forward if we're going to approve these type of variances and be consistent at the board. And for them to learn and to see with Joseph in the field, the site and what's going on. I think that's what I did, and I think that's a good way to go about things. So that's my motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion on that?
I think it's a good idea. I have a lot to learn.
Happy to do that.
Me too.
Jim?
I'm all right with it. It's already been passed, I don't think we can do it.
Yeah, we're at the same meeting, so that's allowed.
But I would encourage all of y'all to go there and as much as you can, look at what's on the agenda before you vote. You'll learn a lot. Joseph's more than happy to do that for you. And it's always better to vote from an informed position than just taking somebody's word for it.
Yes, sir. That's good advice. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Show it be unanimous.
Yes, sir.
If you recall A, do you need to recall B? Because that B probably wouldn't have been approved without A being approved.
That's good.
So do I
Yes, sir.
amend the motion?
So let me amend the motion to recall A and B to be tabled until the next regular meeting. Joseph. So I amend the motion on the recall of A and B just to be tabled and to study by the new board until the next regular meeting. Have a motion for that?
Move to pass the amended motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It should be unanimous. I'd like to also recall item G, the variance we gave for the same exact reason. Not again to say that the variance will not pass, but just to have the new board understand. We talked about getting net zero and what's going on there. And Joseph and I have talked about this a little bit, but I'm just one of 5 people on this board. We're 4 of the people on the board and 3 new people who I believe should, once again, visit the site, simplistic as it may be, and understand what they're passing, what they're looking at, and understand the situation as a whole. Ask questions to Scott and Joseph and be fully comfortable in that decision. So my motion is to recall G and to also place that on the next agenda item on the regular meeting, along with A and B. So that's my motion. Do I have a second?
Motion discussed.
Sure.
So this is where the work really begins, right? Anytime we have a variance, anything that deviates from the handbook or the standard, that's where, we take the most time to decide what's best, but we also open ourselves up to liability. We open ourselves, and if you grant a variance here and do not there, then you could be acting unfairly. So especially with these 2, since it is our first meeting, tabling and having a chance for everyone to go out in the district makes the most sense.
Further discussion? David? Jim? So the motion and the second and the vote is to table item G until the next regular scheduled meeting. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? So that's unanimous. Need to go on to item O. Discussion and take possible action on League City is requesting that the district engineer and a board member be on the regional master planning committee. So Scott, I would like to accompany you at first on that. Having Jason and David maybe as backup, since I'm going to talk a little bit about Jason as well at League City. So I have a motion to have Scott and I be the original people on the League City Regional Master Planning Committee. Go ahead, Scott.
Sorry. So I think their request was to have a board member at their regular meetings and and then for the district engineer to be on the technical advisory committee. So not so much, I'll definitely go and visit or go to the board meetings if you want, or the committee meetings if you want, but more on the technical advisory is what the city was asking for the district.
So let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
So do they need, they're going to be meetings separate of city council where they want you and I to be present, or you and that board member to be present? Or is it just simply, go ahead, Matt.
Sorry.
So just to bring everybody up to speed, considering the fast-paced development and the growth that's going on the west side and the undeveloped areas, we thought it'd be the prudent thing to do to pair up with a consultant by the name of LJA and develop a master plan for that western area. Our thought is to form 2 groups, a technical advisory committee, which will be represented by various internal staff members. You'll have a representative of the home building community, a representative of the commercial development community. And again, we were hoping to incorporate Scott on that technical advisory committee. There is also another group we're forming called the Stakeholders Steering Committee. And that committee will be represented by 2 or 3 of the property owners on that west side. It'll also be represented by our city council. And then we were hoping to have representation from this board. So that's the goal.
Okay.
As a whole.
Okay. So, go ahead, Scott.
Now Lonnie was attending the council meetings,
Correct.
right? GCD had a representative there.
And I'm sorry, one more thing I
Yes,
asked.
sir.
You asked about the frequency of meetings.
Yes, sir.
We envision both of these groups meeting separately, but the goal is for them to meet once a quarter. And the contract with our consultant is for a year, so you're looking at essentially 3 to 4 meetings.
Okay. So again, I would like to initially be the one, Matt, that meets with y'all on this stuff. I'm gonna have Jason is gonna be assigned, just to give y'all a preview of being the League City Council representative for the meetings, but at first, and I'm gonna transition him, but at first, I'd like for Scott and I to be involved in that, Matt, to get it off to a proper start. Not that anybody else couldn't do it, but just to get our hands around it and understand it. And then we can visit that after a couple of quarters of meetings.
So to be clear, both of you will start off on the technical advisory committee. And then I also need a representative for the stakeholder steering committee. Who's that gonna be?
Yeah, probably both. It'll be Scott and I
Okay, all right.
for that. And if there is a conflict or something, I will have a board member stand in as we do always.
Okay,
Okay, and it'll probably be Jason since he will be going to the regular meetings for League City.
okay. I'll relay that info.
Okay. So my motion is that Scott and I be the primary on the initial technical committee and the quarterly meeting, Matt, that we will have for the stakeholders. So that's my motion. Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion, more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All right. Thank you, Matt, for clarifying that.
No problem.
I hadn't forgotten about the public comments. We're going to save those to last. So we're going to hear. Yeah, you're stuck here because I want to hear from everybody and any input or anything y'all have to offer is very welcome. So they won't always be last, but today they will be. Project updates, operational managers report.
Well, with the recent rain, everything came to an end. So like yesterday, we got, I think, right at 2¼ to 2.5 inches of rain. So thought it was time to go to bed when this stuff came through because it got so dark. But mowing crew's been staying busy, and we got a construction crew that does some dirt work, which is DC contracting. And to help us with the general maintenance, we've got a contractor called ProScape. And both DC's been with us for 12 years now, a little over 12 years. And ProScape, this is their second year. Both of them do excellent work. ProScape helps us with a lot of the mowing and clearing easements and keeping all the right-of-ways open. And they were moving along good until yesterday, so everything shut down. Quaker's Landing, that's a project that's ongoing. We probably got a couple more months left there. And that's creating inline detention. The Castlewood project, that is where we built 3, I call it pocket detentions. And we've on the third one, and we're probably about 75% completed with that one. And Carr's Creek repair, we had a bank off a fallen leaf that sloughed off real bad. And so it's about 150, 200 foot long repair that we're currently doing right now as well. And then for future, then I would like to have a project workshop with all the board members to get you all up to speed and kind of what the vision was and get everybody's input and directions, because we got like the Clearview property district bought 5 acres right on Clear Creek on Clearview. And there's some more city property that's adjoining this buyout that could turn it into a 8, 9, 10 acre inline or offline detention basin. Frenchman's Creek, that's another deal. We need to look in that, and we'll have to get Scott's input because this is going to take some studying to make sure we don't have no impacts. And then the airline property, just recently we bought a 4 acre tract off the airline. And you'll hear me talk a lot always about opportunity. And these are opportunities, might not be happening today, but down the road, we can do something with them. But I'd like to see any property that's on Clear Creek especially, if it comes available and it's priced right, to buy it. Because that's opportunities that are waiting for us to take advantage of eventually. And that's all I got. And welcome to the board. I look forward to working with y'all. And we'll make a good team.
Ask a question, sir. I've spent some time up and down the creek. I'm gonna spend some more time, hopefully with you down the creek. There seems to be a lot of ox bones. You know what I'm talking about? You know, where it changes direction 180 degrees. Would it ever be possible for people to donate some of that land to help control the flooding?
Yeah, but
Have you talked to folks about that?
not about donating, but like, again, if we would cut bypasses in or whatever, we'd have to do studies on it for creating any impacts. And that's one thing to remember about the offline detentions, that the 3 pocketed detention points we're doing. Those are like mitigation banks for us. If, you know, we can use them if, and Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, but, you know, and that's why we need to create some of this. So if we do a project downstream and it does show minimal impact, well, then we can mitigate it in these.
Offset.
How do you fix the, you said you had 150, 200 feet of bank slough off. What do you do? Get a grate all in there or?
Good question. No, what we do, we'll get in with the track hoe excavator, and we've got to dig all the way down to until we get to good clay. And once we get into the good clay, then we'll come back and import good clay and compact it in like 6-inch cliffs and build it all the way back up. And in some instances, we've got to come in and put concrete riprap and then cover it back up with topsoil and then seed it.
Let me ask you one more question. If you had one wish to fix this drainage thing once and for all, what would you wish for?
Open up Clear Creek.
Yeah.
Good answer.
When I got here in 2008, nothing was being done on Clear Creek. And our engineer that was here was Al Lentz. And Al Lentz and I got together because the Corps had the district shut down back then. So I got with Kenny James and he came here and eventually we got that taken care of. And so then I got in contact with Steve Mapplegate with SMC Consulting. And he taught me ways that I could work on Clear Creek without getting in the Corps jurisdiction. And that's why we're where we're at today.
At night.
No. But where I came from Fort Bend County, I never thought I'd be on Clear Creek in Galveston County, because up there was just a little road ditch.
Thank you, Joseph.
Yes, sir.
Jim, any questions? Jason? The one thing about Joseph, he's been here since 2008, and he knows a lot about this stuff, and there's no doubt we have to improve our relations with the Corps and stuff. And going back all the way, that's been precarious going all the way back probably to the 60s. You have 2 people back there, and my mother, Lori Chanel, Janice Lowe, who probably can tell you a little bit about Friendswood going back to the 50s and 60s. So if you have any questions, those 2 ladies back there can probably answer the history of Friendswood fairly well. But anyway, moving forward, let's go to the administrative manager's report. Kathy,
I have no report.
thank you for your work in the election. Thank you for all you do. I came by here quite often. I always laugh at you because you're so worried about it, but really it's you do great work and it's really not that big a deal. I like hearing more about your life and what's going on and your games and your groups and stuff. But I appreciate your work around here and your dedication and your smile. That makes a difference. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
He's coming up. Okay.
District
District engineer report, Mr. Scott.
Morning. Congratulations and welcome. Look forward to working with each and every one of you. There's not much new to report on my end. We've got some reviews kind of in process that we're following up with. Samantha has put together some stuff on some questions that the board had at last meeting. She's working on a presentation. So probably by our next regular board meeting next month, she'll be ready to present that, answer a lot of questions. I do have it's a 10-minute video of hydraulics versus hydrology. I know you'd asked me to to summarize that, this is a really good video. So if you'd like, I could put that on, or we could watch it after the meeting, whatever you.
Yes, spare, unless, yeah, we could take
Or I could send it,
we could take a straw vote, but I think they're gonna say spare them. So we'll watch that for sure.
Yeah, okay.
I appreciate that.
And, you know, there's a lot of drone videos that were taken of projects that the district done online. And if for some reason you have any issues accessing that, let me know. I could send you a link to them. So you kind of see the visual, you could visualize some of the work the district's done the past 2 years. So it's really, really good to see. You want to have any questions for me?
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. And maybe we'll put that video up online too, the hydrology versus hydraulics, and
That'd be good.
believe me, if y'all, yeah, nothing. Michael says good, and I trust him. And I trust Michael. So that's probably a good thing to do. And believe me, we can do it. If y'all want to see it, I have no problem with it. Then look over them. Our ally at the city, Councilman Robert Griffon.
Good morning, everybody. Jason, Kim, David, congratulations on becoming board members, and look forward to working with you all. One of the things that I would like to do, especially with some of the questions at the last meeting, is to get with Heather and Hill and I and go over some of the things that I know have been done in the last 8 years, but have been done for the last 20 years with the city and the district, and just kind of give you some more background with what the city is trying to accomplish with the master drainage plan and what we have accomplished with some of the monies that we have spent on the Lower Clear Creek watershed the Lower Clear Creek study. And also Rusty and I talked about the district's continuation with the Clear Creek watershed, which I chair that steering committee. And Teresa was liaison. So Rusty, I would need someone hopefully that you would point to that liaison position. And we meet every other month, the first Tuesday of every other month, I believe. And so we'll be looking forward to renewing that interlocal agreement at our next meeting. So I would be doing that. Other than that, thank you for your service, and let's get some work done.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions for Robert?
Just looking forward to working with you, keeping the relationship strong.
Yeah, city's ready to work with y'all. Don't ask for any money right now, but we're getting some.
City engineer, Shannon?
Yeah, good morning, everybody.
I'm sorry, Hill. I didn't see you.
I'm back here. I've been kind of sliding around. Welcome to everybody. Like Councilman Robert Griffon said, we are looking forward to working with you guys. I did want to touch on one thing real quick, along the same vein as Chairman Burkett has mentioned. Some of the things and decisions that have been made in the past, such as the variances. We wanted to see if you'd like to revisit this, and I'm specifically talking about the master drainage plan. We do have everything pretty much ready to roll on that, but we do want to visit with the new board now and make sure that we understand what your vision is for the master drainage plan. And also wanted to fill you in on what that process is like. It is partially funded by federal funds, and that does come with some caveats in it. It requires the city council to take specific actions. We need to find out if some of those actions are going to have to be repeated by the board as well. But nonetheless, wanted to get with you guys, make sure that we have a good grasp of what your vision is, and then put that out as soon as possible. So
We'll get a meeting together between us, and then we'll bring any concerns that you have to the board and get that taken care of. One thing I wanted to ask you about, I talked to Scott a little bit about, Joseph, for the meeting, is the master drainage plan is what looks like it's going to be completed in 2026. Is that correct?
This is
I'll give you an example. Since this, as I mentioned, a federally backed project, and some of these things have to be approved by FEMA, and there's no way of telling being able to say and guarantee how long it's going to take. But if we had to take a guess, we would probably be looking at late 25, 26, maybe to get that completed.
Jim and I being on the board, I mean, we've had our commitment, of course, to that drainage plan, which I think is long overdue for Friendswood. So we're committed to working with the city and making sure that that gets lined out. I was hoping before 2026, I think Director Gibson probably was too, but that's something we've really been, along with the 59 pond, that's something we've really been trying to press on. So anything that we could do to help move that along, I don't think, Robert, we wavered in our commitment to.
No, thank you for your participation in it and the dollars that y'all are putting in.
And we want to make sure, this is important, I know we've conveyed this, that the whole district, not just the Friendswood part, but the whole district is represented in that study. That's critical for the Galveston County Consolidated Drainage Districts, especially the Dickinson side over there, what we're doing out there. Okay, so yes, we'll get together and then I'll bring any concerns that y'all may have from council, Robert, from the engineering side to the board, and Jim's up to speed. We'll make sure we work hard to get the new board members up to speed and move that along as quickly as we can, doing it correctly.
Okay. And we'll reach back out and touch base with Joseph and get a date for that so that we can get that done here pretty quick. So also, I wanted to share with you guys a little bit of good news. It's been in the works for a while now, but we finally have received our authority to use grant funds for the relocation of the utility pipes off of Holly Branch. Yeah. Rusty, you well know what the background is like on that. The environmental assessment took a while, I think probably 2 years. But we finally had that done. We finally had that done for Deepwood also. So the city's plan of action right now on Deepwood is we're going to move as fast as we can to get that project closed out on the federal side to clear it up for any sort of vision that you guys have. There's a property adjacent that the drainage district owns. And that'll open up any opportunities that we might have there. And then we're going to move as fast as we can on the relocation of that pipe rack as well. Probably won't be by the summer, and there may be some kids out there swinging off the pipe still, but it'll be gone by hopefully by this time next year.
Yeah, they've been using one of our entries going to Clear Creek, doing both of Clearview, taking bore samples and surveying.
Yeah, I'd say sound so bureaucratic on the drainage, going with the drainage plan, but we need to get that moving and do that. But it has to be done correctly because of the federal funds. I get that. Samantha has made me very well of that. Trust me, I understand it. So, but I want to make sure y'all think I'm just sounding like some bureaucrat. We want to get that moving, and Jim and I have been pressing on that, and so was the old board for a long time, especially me, Jim, Kevin, and going back further than that. So that's important. The pipe is good news. We've been fighting that because of the funding forever. The Deepwood, that's all Friendswood Link Road for y'all that we don't know what that is. So Friendswood Link Road, you take a right by the old city dog pound back there. It's kind of across from where Kim lives on Charleston Street, but it's at the confluence of Howard's Creek and Clear Creek. So I like when we have these board meetings for y'all to really know, Scott and Joseph, to let the people understand and make it clear. City council, sometimes it can get with the maps, you get disoriented because north, south, but good to have a north-south, arrow like you do in aviation. That helps for us dumb pilots. And that way we know where we're going. But for the people, give them a north-south and kind of explain, give them some major roads so y'all can understand where these projects are really occurring and y'all can kind of get in your mind. And then y'all can ask questions like, hey, what's the impact going to be? Who's it going to help? benefit the water surface elevation? What's it going to do for real people's homes, structures, and how's it going to affect the community? I think that's important. So I think a lot of times location gets lost. So that's Friendswood Link Road across from like the Chamber of Commerce, if y'all know where that is, guys, going City Hall, take a right, and then back on the right, the city and the drainage district owns land back there. And we are moving along with some flood mitigation projects out there. And we appreciate our partnership. We have an interlocal there. We need an interlocal at Clearview eventually, and some other things, Robert, that I want to work with you on. But thanks for that update. And that's where it's at. Go look at it, guys.
Yeah, actually, Deepwood can get bigger.
Yes.
Yes, it can. And we'll also bring to you here within the next couple of weeks a proposed interlocal for Richmond Creek.
That's a question, sir. Mr. City Engineer, I don't know you. I'm David Johnson.
Hill.
Hill, Hill, thanks for coming. Who takes the lead for the city in filling out the forms for the federal government for grants?
Well, it depends on how that was acquired. In some of our grants, we have a grant administrator. But
Is that a contract person or is that on staff?
that's a contract person. And then the majority of them are going to be somebody on staff. But it may be somebody within the engineering department or somebody within the apartment marshal office.
And the follow-up? Once you submit the forms, the squeaky wheel gets the grease?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're.
Well, there's a whole lot of other people in the world filling out those forms.
Yeah.
So
Well, with the contract personnel
Anybody
that we
knows.
recently went out with last year, and this ties into the major drainage plan. We spent $100,000 with that contract person and got in return, which I believe is a pretty good deal, right at $3 million, didn't we?
Right.
From that participation, them doing the legwork to do the participation. I'd actually voted against providing the $100,000, and that's one of the ones I regretted because they did get us quite a bit of money from their work on the grant side. But yeah,
You gotta have the money to spend.
You gotta
spend the money, right?
you gotta have people getting in there. Go ahead, Heather.
We submit the grants and then it's like a hurry up and wait game. You wait and wait and wait and we check, we keep in communication, but it's a hurry up and wait game. A prime example is the pipe rack and the Deepwood projects that we were just discussing. That grant was submitted back right after Harvey. And here we are 4 to 5 years later, we just got permission to use the funds. And it's not because it got lost and somebody forgot about it. We are continually in contact with our TDM and with all the grant administrators, whether it's city staff or it is a consultant that we've hired. It's just the process of the federal government of how long it takes.
part of my background is I'm a problem solver. And part of being a problem solver is removing barriers. And so I would just say if there's anything we can do outside of the city to try to help lower those barriers, whether it be going to the Fed, going to our state and federal representatives, we're willing to do. I came here, I'm hoping to get this fixed in a couple of years so I can go back and retire. And so I have a sense of urgency. And I think pretty much everybody else does up here too. So we're trying to work ourselves out of a job. Anyway, Gil, thank you. Robert, thank you. And I don't know you, I'm David Johnson.
My name is Heather.
Heather, thank you so much.
B and Z. Yes, go ahead, Jim. I'm sorry.
Bill, does the fact that part of our drainage district is not in the state impact the master drainage plan?
That's a good question. And I'm glad you brought that up. The work that is done outside of the city, that is what is going to be paid for by the drainage district. The cities funds come from drainage bond, and that will only allow for us to use with that money for work done within the city limits.
So our 400,000 that we've committed to this study will be applied to the area outside the city.
For outside the city and for anything else that you want to know within the city as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 11. Well, plan and zoning. Is anybody here from P and Z from the city? Okay, so let's move to City of League City, City Council Liaison. Don't see that. Matt? Go ahead, babe. Engineer report.
Just as an update on the Westland Ranch development, that east-west collective Muldoon Parkway, the final extension that Westland Ranch is conducting to the extent of their property limits. That particular project is essentially complete. Sounds like I'll be scheduling some sort of inspection of that fairly soon. Then you got the extension of Magnolia Bayou, which is the north-south collective. Eventually connect to 517. Those utilities have been installed. The paving contractor was supposed to move in this week to pave that along with section 6A/6B, but I'd imagine this weather we had yesterday is not what they were looking for and might delay things. But those roadway projects are underway. Westland Ranch Section 2, I received word that they've achieved the punch list that we generated for them. So we'll be essentially accepting that as municipal infrastructure here fairly soon. And then again, I may have mentioned 6A and 6B, which is a large section on the southern half of that development. Utilities have been installed, we're just pending paving. And then I always like to give you guys an update on the legacy development. They are the ones that are completing that League City Parkway extension to Friendswood. You know, utilities have been installed and you know, paving is imminent. They're also installing those 2 missing lanes in front of Magnolia or the golf course. The only thing pending on that effort is there's a short span of paving missing that will connect to Maple Leaf. There was a gas line conflict there, and we've been working with the gas company to get that resolved. But I believe we've got our ducks in a row on that. And paving was supposed to happen this week, but again, with the weather, we may be pushing it into next week. But I believe that's all the projects that involve the district, but I'm here for any questions or concerns you guys might have. Yes.
For the new board members, you'll hear Westland Ranch, the legacy and all that. And that's the part of the district that is out on Dickinson Bayou. So just let y'all know, and if you want to take a ride out there, I can take you.
Over the weekend, Robin and I took a ride out, you know, rode around the community, looked at all the new development, took Malden Parkway and hit a left and ended up off 517,
Yeah.
you know.
You came out on the part of it.
Right, we're out on the far side.
Yeah.
Got a question from Matt. Go ahead, dude.
Go ahead.
Matt, real quick. So in the past, when you had updated on the Parkway extension to Friendswood, I thought you had mentioned that all construction was going to be completed on y'all's end towards the golf course. Are they now more separate and the construction can begin on roadway construction for the extension, or are you still waiting to complete the other lanes?
The priority was always for them to install those 2 lanes in front of the golf course first. And again.
And I know your little joiner off Maple has that dog leg over.
Right.
With the gas line conflict, will it hold up the Parkway extension or those 2
Oh,
things?
no, we wouldn't hold up that effort. And again, you know, normally if that gas line conflict hadn't popped up, that effort would be complete and we'd still be moving forward with the Friendswood connection. But no, those projects, we're handling them separately, and one won't delay the other.
Madam David Johnson, glad to meet you. My question is, who paid for the infrastructure up there?
The developer of West League City, Typical of most cities, development is what triggers these improvements of what the developer typically incurs those costs.
So they pay for the installation. You guys do the maintenance and repair after a period of time.
Right, I was about to say the typical process is that they construct these improvements. We inspect it, we do all the formal testing. And once it's in a satisfactory level for us, they'll enter their 2-year warranties. And then once that warranty period is over, it's totally ours.
Thank you, Bass.
Yes.
ENZ, Leaf City, negative. All right, we're gonna go back now to item 4, citizens' comments. We're gonna bring out podium, and we're gonna, Matt and everybody, in the future, we're probably gonna have y'all all step up, so you can address everybody who wants, the crowd and the board, and answer questions from the board, and occasionally open it up to the crowd if we have questions. So citizen comments, if you would, please. Hey, Kathy, did we have our little sign-in sheet today?
I got the ones that I showed you, but I didn't get to redo them with our logo.
Okay, so what we're gonna have sign-in sheets, much like city council, for regular comments, and we'll have sign-in sheets for any public workshops we have to comment separately on those. We will have some project workshops that will be public, of course, tax workshops. I envision Cheryl Johnson doing us a tax workshop here this summer. And of course, those will be open to the public to be able to answer questions. Thank you, Jim. Be able to answer questions and interact with the public on those. So without further ado, public comments. Anybody who has any public comments, please raise your hand and please go to the podium. Love to hear from y'all. Let me read that. So members of the public are invited to give comments at this time, lasting no longer than 3 minutes. Comments may be general in nature, and you can address whatever you'd like. I'm gonna stop right there because that's what you can address.
All right, I'm Michael Ross, 310 Woodstream Circle, Friendswood, Texas. I want to, first of all, thank the outgoing board members for their service. Kevin served the city for decades, not just a few years. Likewise, to sit on a board is a thankless job in a lot of ways. You end up with a lot of animosity from the public because they don't take the time to stop and engage. And I love what I'm seeing here today. It's a huge amount of public involved. Maybe it's just because everybody got elected. I'm not sure, but I love the public involvement. And I think that's an important component of managing a district like this, is to involve the public. So second thing is I'd like to congratulate Jason, Kim, and David on running a great campaign. It's not easy to sit here and put yourself out there for the rest of the public to stare at and criticize. So I thank y'all for stepping up, and we look forward to great things from you as a board. Like the thought that I may have some continued, public dialogue with y'all. I expect to attend many more of these meetings, especially if we can get them moved to a later time in the day, so we're not all having to be physically working. I think that's something that y'all are planning. And then thirdly, and lastly, it is what I think I heard on the campaign trail is, and hear me this again, is involving the public. So continue that effort, bring them out, take them to their drainage channels, walk them with you, with Joseph, so he can explain to them, quit throwing your damn branches in my ditch, because this is what happens downstream. And, a beaver is very efficient at damming up a river and a creek, but so are people. So let's treat these as the resources that they are. They're not just drainage. They're could be, and I hope the board looks at this, and this is kind of my mantra that every drainage district in the area hears from me, is these are great resources for the public to get out and be involved with nature. It is conveyance, but it is also where a majority of the wetland species live, where we have and I am the biggest tree huggingest developer you'll ever meet. So my day job is a residential developer. So, you know, part of my life is committed to putting people in houses and getting subdivisions on the ground, but at the same time, I want to see great developments get produced that incorporate nature and incorporate proper drainage. And I was in a community that got flooded, but I also happen to love living on the creek simultaneously. So thank you very much. One of the things you brought up, Rusty, at the last meeting, and hopefully you can pull it together for the public to look at, is out of all the projects that are ongoing in the drainage district, what are their impact on the water surface elevation, the 100-year water surface elevation in Clear Creek and Sugar Creek and Cowards Creek? I want to see if we can those components and see what the real world benefit is to this constituency, as opposed to let's just do another project. Let's do another project. Let's look at that. Appreciate the consolidated drainage report and study, because I think that's a huge component in fixing some of these problems. Had something else, but I'll get to it next meeting. Oh, this. I love the fact that we did this last, because then we can all listen as a public, hear everything that's going on, and then maybe have something salient to bring back to the board. So even though it's painful for some of the members of the public to sit through an entire drainage district meeting, maybe you'll learn something. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I'll go next.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chris Johnston.
Hello, congratulations, new board members. Great. I'm glad that you guys were successful, but now we need your help. So looking at this development that you were talking about today, the next big move in Friendswood seems to be the development off of 528. All of those properties that are being rezoned commercial. And so you were looking at a development today, and you heard Scott say that that's going to drain into the creek. And I know that they've got a detention pond there. But I'm at 36 Wilderness Trail. The neighbors that live on 36 Wilderness Trail, especially on the creek side, are all really, I think, in the floodway. And so when you're talking about this idea of conveyance, of making sure that you don't create the other problems, you need to really look hard. This board needs to take real serious the secondary and tertiary consequences of this development when they're making drainage plans and approving drainage designs. And I think that includes looking at the district guidelines, because if you're looking at all this development, it's all going to happen south of that creek bed there. And as it always happens, people say, well, it's on the other side. Well, we all know that that water flows into that creek, and that creek gets backed up, and it's going to affect the people on the other side of that creek. So when you're looking at these things, all the development is going to happen along that parkway. And I know that that's the big hot topic right now. We're all talking about the parkway. As that parkway moves up, there's going to be the land use map in Friendswood includes more commercial development, which means more hardscape, which means more water. So when you're looking at these designs, when you're looking at these issues, I want to make sure you understand that there's a whole bunch of people that are already there that are already flood prone. And you're making these decisions on what's going to happen to the south and this oncoming development. And I know everybody wants more development. Let's keep doing it. I think you need to be real careful about the decisions you make, especially when it comes to, now we're looking at, we're going to pave an area that's never been paved. It's going to be right next to the creek. What are going to be the secondary and tertiary effects of these projects? And I mean, everything that's being zoned commercial is going to have a parking lot. Everything that's being zoned commercial is going to have roadway and infrastructure access needed. So please consider this as a holistic view when you're looking at these projects, especially to the south of that creek as the parkway pushes through, making sure that these things are good ideas for the folks that are already there. Congratulations to the board members, Dad. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I apologize for you having to interrupt your retirement for this, but I think it's going to be a good
Thank you, Chris.
use of your time because I think the folks here, we need you because we don't understand. We see these maps, we see these things, we don't get it. I hope that you guys are going to do what you said you're going to do, which is making sure that we do understand. Congratulations, guys. Thank y'all for your service. Mr. Gibson, thank you.
Chris. Next, Mr. Hank Duke.
Good morning, y'all. I'll be very brief. Congratulations. Thank you for agreeing to serve. First and foremost, you are invited. June 1st at 9 a.m., the Dickinson Bayou Watershed Steering Committee has a boat tour. It'll be launching at the boat ramp on Highway 3 in Dickinson. So you're invited. Typically, we have a few folks from each of the member entities join us for that. And we go as far up the bayou as we can, which would be in y'all's jurisdiction. Second thing really is a call to action. I think y'all are highly motivated to see some flood mitigation gets done in the district. I think it's important for the public to know the maintenance y'all do, the projects y'all do locally have a huge impact locally. But if we want to really solve flooding, it's got to be done regionally altogether. So after Harvey, the devastation it brought across Galveston County, Harris County, all of our communities, it really brought us together. After disaster, though, people start to forget and they start to splinter. So the further we get removed from the last disaster, the more important it's going to be for us to just really focus on staying together and pushing for some federal and state dollars to have some substantial impact. Because the money we have locally is not enough to correctly resolve our creek woes and our bayou woes. So those things are going to have to be done with federal and state dollars. But in order for those guys to get involved, we have to be together on it. So I look forward to working with y'all. I appreciate the work that you're doing. And then my call to action would be, let's stay together and keep working regionally on getting some federal and state dollars to come to our area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson?
Relation.
My brother from another mother.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to all of y'all. This was a monumental task to get into an election like this, and then not only get into it, but to win and to get on board. And I think this is a breath of fresh air and point us in the right direction going forward. But I'm going to have to take just a minute to look back, because I've got to say this. I was very disappointed that Chairman Holland had organized this agenda so that canvassing the election and swearing in the new people to do the business that they were voted in to do was pushed to the back of the agenda so that the old board could then act like they were still in charge and go through the action items for today. I thought that was ridiculous. And I guess Kevin forgot that, you know, this board can look at any item and they're not obligated to do anything that the old board had forced them to do. So I'm glad that we've got a new crew, and I don't think that the people that are on the board now are going to be looking to poke anybody in the eye or, you know, do any of the shenanigans that happened in the last. And I know that what Jim said was very true, that, hey, well, you know, you need to be qualified to be able to act on action items. But last week, the chairman should have scheduled briefings for the new folks so that they could get up to speed on all these items so that they would be informed and know where to go with this information. And let me say, that would have been a great time to do it too, because the Open Meetings Act didn't apply until you got sworn in. So you could have had the whole group together, giving them briefings, taking them out to the sites and showing them what's going on, rather than, you know, staying at home and sulking because you lost the election. I just am so glad that we've got a breath of fresh air here. And I don't expect to see anything like that happen with this board. And I don't mean any disrespect to you, Jim. I'm talking about the board in general. You've been a good person many times, and I've appreciated that.
Right.
So good luck to y'all moving forward. There's a lot to do, and way more than I've got time to get into right now. So again, congratulations. Let's put the past behind us and let's move forward with a new spirit of getting things done and getting them done right away. I like the certain sense of urgency. I've had that with everything I've done. And it's been very difficult for me sitting out here in the audience for 20 years. I mean, it's difficult to get something done if you're on the board, but imagine sitting out here trying to get something done. It's like impossible. So, you know, the one thing that we used was a major accomplishment of the Dixie Bog Road detention basin. That was almost definitely your effort to get that. Now everybody has been dropping in. I think everybody's really worked there, and appreciative of that. So thank you to y'all. I look forward to coming to future meetings and watching all the good things you're going to be doing. Thank you very much.
Kathy?
Everybody else, I wanted to say congratulations to the new board members, and you've got a lot of work in front of you, and I just wanted to volunteer my services. If you decide to have committees like the city has, I think there are a lot of residents that want to help and want to participate and provide input and advisement. I'm glad we're having comments at the end. I like comments at the beginning because I think last meeting we saw how the comments at the beginning changed the direction. I'd like comments both ends, kind of bookended, because, I look at that and I see a detention pond on Friendswood Parkway, and the city, no offense, is notorious for putting off tax revenue things on major thoroughfares that are great retail things. So please don't do that if it's at all possible. I don't know what else was considered in the other corners of the property, but ultimately, getting rid of potential retail corners is, I think, one of the worst things you can do, especially for a mosquito pond, but I'm more for conveyance than detention anyway. I also hope, and I wanted to reiterate Mr. Ross's comments, that a better meeting time, I hope you get right on that soon, because I think you've got great participation today, and I don't know if this will go into the future. But, I thank you for your service. I thank you for putting yourselves out there. And I look forward to great things in drainage and really considering, again, as Mr. Ross said, the people who are existing, people who have flooded. And I think having workshops and listening to people's flood stories like Kim's is very valuable in terms of seeing the impact on people. And sometimes people say, oh, let them flood their homeowners. It's not going to stop, people going to work, we can't flood businesses, we can't flood downstream, but, it's tragic and it's important. I think that we really consider people who are now at lower elevations because of the people have been encouraged to build up. So thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing how y'all do.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Kathy. Mr. Radiso.
Bill Radiso, City of Friendswood, Harris County side, 5327 Apple Blossom. We flooded in Harvey, almost 3 feet. Part of the citizens group that worked with the city, and then we worked on our own, but we met with Harris County Flood Control quite a bit. We learned a lot. And one of the distinct things we saw, and Robert Griffon was a great partner in doing things, and he went to Commissioner's Court, and that really wasted time there. But and not just because of Commissioner's Court in Harris County. But anyway, one of the things that was the founding tenet that we found in all this trouble was nobody goes to Harris County, or it has in the past, flood control and said, you have citizens to serve. We ask you to partner with us to do this. It's happening now. And there's a big push on the detention pond up there. Truth be known, and a lot of people know it, if it wasn't for the work going on in Pearland and the Corps pushing Harris County flood control, that detention pond up there wouldn't happen. And I think most people know that are informed. But I ask that y'all build the relationships and that with the city too, and that y'all go to these people and be not in their face, but let them know that you're willing and you want them to work with you and you want to get things done. I helped push the bond for the flood control stuff in Friendswood. I helped push the $2.5 billion flood control bond that Harris County did. And then Commissioner's Court flipped and we hadn't seen a dime of that money down on our end. But there is 39 million that was designated for the lower part of Clear Creek in Harris County. We hadn't gotten that. That's separate from what is going on with that detention pond up there. So I asked that y'all build the relationships and gently demand that they come up with their piece of money that they said they were going to do for us along the creek and down on our end. And I ask that you do that in a respectful manner and get some positive energy flowing, and let's get something done, because I don't want to flood again.
Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
Samantha.
Congratulations, everyone. I think it's great having passionate people up here that really want to make a difference, and I'm really excited to see what you guys do in the coming years. My name is Samantha Heritage. I live in League City. I started, or I'm a water resources coastal engineer by trade. I have about 20 years of experience. I started off my career at the Army Corps down in Galveston in 2005. And more recently, I was the Deputy Director of Engineering at the City of Friendswood. I'm now working for a private firm, and most of the time I'm fortunate to get to work out of my house about 10 minutes away from here. But I just, Clear Creek specifically, flooding are my passions. I'm here to help in any way I can, to answer questions. I can be here in a heartbeat if there's ever any time you need to come down and look at something. But I just wanted to say congratulations. And if there's anything I can do to help, I'm here.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Anything else? That's pretty nice. I like that. That's good stuff. All right, before we move on to board, what do you like that? You need a little, what's that called? An actual stenograph? What is it called? Y'all attorneys in the room? Before we go to board director's report, Paige, do you have anything to add? I know we have to get some stuff signed.
Yes, so we moved a little fast through items 8 through 10. So I wanted to make it clear, items 10, that before he left, Mr. Holland did prepare the certificate selection for the qualifying new board members, and Kathy has it on file if you have any questions about those. And the statement of officers for the Texas Ethics Commission, please, new board members, sign those before the end of the meeting.
Do they need to sign those in the meeting, or they sign when the meeting's closed and adjourned?
In the meeting.
In the meeting?
Yeah, that's why.
Okay.
They interrupted.
Maybe we can sign those right now.
That's what we understand.
And they have them in front of them.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they signed them when they were signing the oaths of office.
Okay.
Sometimes they're like together, but it looks like I confirmed with Kathy that they work together and they are still in front of you. So please sign them before we move on.
Is there anything else that we need to do before we close the meeting, or?
I mean, if y'all wanted to do comments on incoming candidates,
Yeah, we're gonna just do board member comments. We're gonna start with Mr. Gibson.
perfect, thank you.
So, Jim?
I attended a meeting on FM 1959 detention project on May the 8th. And the Harris County Flood Control has applied to the Army Corps of Engineers for determination on non-jurisdiction on the 3 wetlands that are prohibiting that detention from being any larger than what we've recently been led. They removed those 3 wetlands. The detention is 1,100 acre feet, which is still less than what we wanted, but much more than the 600 to 800 that they were saying later. The significance of that is that by us asking that question, they have found a bank of wetland mitigations that they can buy into in case they have a negative opinion from the Corps of Engineers. So that means that detention is going to be about 1,100 acre feet, which I'm very thankful for. They have also satisfied Galveston County's requirement that the funds that Galveston County has is committed by the end of this year with their contract schedule and their commitment that they will have contract honored by December 1st. And Michael from Galveston County Engineering confirmed that that did meet his criteria. So those funds appear to be secure now. And I haven't been out there to look since the rain started, but I don't imagine we'll see any brush or anything out there now. We're just digging dirt. So I'm very pleased with that progress. First time I felt good about that progress. Thank you. Well, congratulations to all the new board members again. I'm looking forward to working.
David? Yeah, I'm not gonna electioneer. I just want to say thanks for getting out the vote, and I'm not a politician. I consider myself a public servant. I'd like to get this problem solved and go home. Robert Hill, is it Amber? Heather. Heather, sorry. I don't want to get in the way of progress you have already made, but unfortunately, I grew up with a father who was a military man. He said, lead, follow, or get the hell out of the way. So I'm going to be pushing. I'm going to be using whatever contacts I have outside 77546 to try to help us get this problem fixed sooner rather than later. I would like to thank Don Johnson for his help. I've learned a lot from him. Kathy, and also Connie and Phil. I've learned a lot from them. Look forward to working with the city. Man, I'll always agree with you. I think one of the issues I have is, we built all these houses how many years ago? And people in those houses, it's like, well, one side of me says, well, hell, you built the house, in a floodplain. But I guess the problem I have is we keep building, we keep every square foot of concrete, every square foot of roof we put up exacerbates the problem. And so my pledge is to, I'm open to listen to all. I like Kathy's idea about citizen input. I use the analogy, I think at the city council meeting, sometimes, we're too close to the forest to see the trees. I think complacency sometimes gets the better of us. And just like I pledged, I plan to help fix this problem, and I'm open to any and all suggestions from all stakeholders. Thank you. Kim?
I just want to say thank you for everybody that came out to vote to express your civil right as a citizen of this city. And I thank you for your support. I am absolutely excited to work with these gentlemen up here and to stop the flooding in Friendswood. We have got to stop it because another 4 feet of water, 6 feet of water in my house is going to be devastating. It's going to be devastating for my entire street. Jim Gibson, who lives just down the street, just across the street, actually. It will be devastating for us. It will be devastating for the rest of the city. So I look forward to working with everybody, and I thank you so much.
Jason?
So when I look out in front of me, I see a lot of family. I see a lot of friends, and I see a lot of people who worked their tails off to get us right where we are. Don't think for a single moment any of that will ever be forgotten. And the way we did this was all forward facing. It wasn't just a flyer. It was a knocking on your door and wait until you came to the door so we could, spread the good word, right? Well, we're not going to disappear now that we're up here. We will be a fully forward facing board. You won't get tired of seeing it. We're going to be at anything we can go to help mobilize the entire community. This is all very familiar to us, but there's still people all over the district who have no idea that this place exists. I'm just telling you how to look at that tax statement, right? One thing we're going to change really soon is that zero deduction you see at the bottom of your appraisal district notice. So we will not forget you, and do not forget to hold us accountable. And Brother Hank mentioned, the further we get away from a disaster, the less organized and the less concerned we become. But we're that much closer to the next disaster. As we get away from the thing that mobilized us, it becomes NIMBY, not in my backyard, right? Well, this new development's going to flood Dickinson, so that's fine. It's going to their watershed. I'm no more comfortable flooding Dickinson than I have my own house. And that's the way we will do all of our business. Very careful, very measured, and in front of the public as much as possible. Thanks again.
Yeah, when you get people that lose their political will to drive it home after a while, you need to get rid of them. because political will and perseverance is what separates an organization, separates the men from the boys when it comes to driving stuff to conclusion. So believe me, a lot of people lose political will and the perseverance it takes and the work to get it done as things get further and further in the rearview mirror. And that's true a lot of things in life. So that's good words, Jason, and it's true. I'm really honored to serve. I'll put some notes down. I usually don't do that, but I'm honored to serve. I don't want to forget anything on this board. Without the public and the citizens funding this place, it wouldn't even exist. And that is the God's honest truth. We can't forget who we serve here and who pays the bills around here. And it's not us. We are simply stewards of your money. We direct a philosophical way forward. We're not always right. We can be corrected. We can change course, and we should. I hope this board, and I'm just one person on this board, I'm nothing special, but I hope this board never puts the almighty dollar ahead of people and their safety, their lifetime assets they've accumulated, their homes, their businesses. It's very important that the board recognizes that people are more important than almighty dollar. And that can be hard sometimes because the dollar in this country rules all, but it can't rule everything. I'm proud of David, Kim, Jason. I'm proud to serve with my old neighbor, Jim Gibson. I've known Jim and Ann a long time, and his kids, his grandkids, and I love those people. I've known them a long time. And I'm proud to be an old Charleston neighbor. Y'all got 2 Charleston people up here, so Charleston's well represented. It's probably enough from Charleston. Kathy, no offense, Kathy. So it's a well represented street. Now I like to see all the streets, Wilderness Trails. I like to see all the streets well represented. Like I said, it's going to be a slow and steady approach. We didn't get into the situation in Friendswood, Texas overnight. So we're not wizards. I'd like to be a wizard, but we're not wizards when it comes to flooding and drainage. It's going to take slow, steady perseverance, all the things that we're talking about to get it done. We will be reaching out for some committees and some help and some pressure on the feds, the state, Hank, local stuff. I've worked with Hank, met Hank on the Dixon Valley Watershed Committee. We hit it off really without talking flooding and drainage too much, more family and just faith and just friendship. And then we got more busy on policy and where we were going. I think Hank has a really good, for a young guy, he has a really good head on his shoulders about what he wants to do moving forward in this county. So Hank, I appreciate that. I always appreciate bouncing stuff off you and getting more of a bigger perspective from Galveston County. I'd like to get more engagement with the Corps. Joseph, I'd like for you to invite Colonel Blackman to one of our regular meetings to give a presentation, a public hearing, so we can have questions, interaction with him, with the Corps, with the public. We will be noticing a special meeting on Friday at 1 p.m. here today that will go out. Friday at 1, that meeting will address a homestead exemption and other items. You'll see it on the agenda. It will address some of the items, meeting times and other things. So it will be noticed here immediately following this meeting. I invite y'all to please be here. I'm going to have Kathy bring in lunch for that meeting. So if you're going to be here, would you just kind of stop by and give her kind of a head count and just let her know so Joseph and them can kind of set that up. And it'll kind of be like a more of an introduction to the board and our first meeting from A to Z. We'll keep it short. I promise you. We won't have it go this long. Lastly, I'm honored just to be sitting here. I always have been. It's really humbling. I don't really know what to say, but thank y'all. And thank all y'all guys on the board. Y'all just pop me into place when you need me. I know David will. I'm kind of scared of him, but he go pilot. See, yeah, Kim probably will. I'm known
2 captains.
Yeah. I'd probably be his first officer. So I have to yield to the senior pilot here in the group. But it's a good deal. That cockpit resource management is no joke. I'm telling you, that's CRM training.
We're going to practice that.
Yes, we are, because that keeps you from hitting a mountain or flying into the tower when it's foggy or dialing in the wrong frequency. And listen, in the board, that's true. Listen, that's a good analogy. If we dial in the wrong frequency and we're getting off track and we're off the magenta line, that's the new stuff. And in the old days, it was off a needle or you know, you have to be just close, but if we're off the magenta line, y'all, listen, pop us back in place, Robert. Focus us back on because I'm gonna tell you something, what this is about is low water conveyance out of this city and this district below people for safety and security, personal safety, below their lifetime assets, their homes, their businesses. This is about low water flow of conveyance out of this city and this district. So we're not killing people, hurting people, flooding people's homes and their houses, their businesses. That's the game. How we get there, man, that's the rub. So with that, I'm gonna move to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a motion? Motion.
Second.
Motion adjourned. Thank you. Yeah, she wants a pinch point and clear everything out. I see that.
I'm Margaret. Welcome, good to see you.
I wanted to get here earlier, but
I dropped the kids. I can't get here. Yeah, thank you. Good to see you.